Hey beautiful souls, I hope that you are all doing really well and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. We are doing a very heavily requested relationship reading today. So today's question we're going to be looking at is this your relationship true love or just a lesson? So I'm just going to have a look at my phone because that's where I've got all the questions that we're going to be going through. So we have four kind of core questions that we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be looking at the core energy or the foundation energy around this relationship for you right now. We're also going to be looking at hidden dynamics and what you might not know about or what you might not be seeing within the relationship at the moment. So what is there to know about your partner or the relationship that you might not be fully aware of? The third question we're going to be asking is, what is the relationship teaching you or helping you to grow in? And then we're going to be looking at the potential outcome in current energy. Then we're going to be getting one more extra card from your higher self. So it's going to be a message or a word of advice regarding this relationship. Now, please remember that this is really, really important, that time is an illusion and energy is fluid. So the reading that we're doing for you today is in your current energy. So I really should have done this as a preface at the beginning, but it doesn't matter. If you are feeling overly anxious, unbalanced, and in a state of fear, this might not be the best time to watch these readings or any pick a card readings, to be honest with you, because you're not going to get a real accurate depiction of what's going on. You might just get your fear reflected back to you. And I say that with love because I think a lot of us can fall down the trap of being too reliant on the cards to give us answers to try and gain a sense of control. So if you're not feeling great right now, overly sensitive maybe, and just if you feel full of fear, if the feeling of fear is overcoming you, this might not be the best time to watch this reading. So maybe when you're feeling a bit more balanced, that might be it will be the best time for you to watch this reading. But you have your own free will, so please do what you feel drawn to do or what you want to do, okay? So I'm going to pause the video in a minute and I'm going to show you 3 different oracle cards which are going to correlate with your reading. And I'll give you a little bit of time to look at those and then we will get straight into the readings. Now, if you would like to support me, you can do a few simple things. You can subscribe to my channel to help it grow. You can also give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And you can also leave feedback and comments below if you'd like to, because I'd love to hear what you thought of the reading. If you would like to actually get a personal reading with me, you can find the link to my website in the description box below. Now, if you would like to leave me a tip, which is absolutely not expected, you can find the link to my PayPal below. However, without any further ado, let's get into these readings because I get this sense that you guys are really enthused to get into it. So I'm now going to show you the different cards that you have to choose from. Hello, beautiful soul. So these are the 3 different oracle cards that you have to choose from. So Surrender is going to be reading 1 or pile 1. Delight is going to be pile 2 or reading 2. And Compassion is going to be reading 3 or pile 3. You are more than welcome, of course, to watch multiple readings if you wish. However, I do always kind of recommend that you just choose one because then you'll get a more clear and specific message. In saying that, if say in a week's time you feel differently and you feel more drawn to another, you can always go back and watch the other. It's really important to remember that these are very general readings, so you'll need to apply these messages as they resonate for you. And as I said before, but we'll say again because it's really important, time is an illusion and energy is fluid. So the energy, the reading that I'm doing for you right now is in your current energy. Okay, so if you need a little bit more time to think about which is your reading or which is your card, I'll just get you to pause the video because I am about to start the readings. Hello, Pile 1, or for those of you who chose the Oracle card Surrender, I am actually going to read the meaning of this Oracle card to you at the end of your reading, but this is really basically just so you get an understanding, which a lot of you probably already do. This is really talking about surrendering control over your emotions is the biggest thing I'm getting here, because I feel like there's a lot of fear here around being burnt again. And so maybe some of you try to hold back or control your emotions a little bit out of fear of what might happen next, or maybe a repeat of what's happened before. So take it as it resonates, but I will read the full meaning at the end of your reading for you, okay? So let's get straight into it though. Okay, so Knight of Swords and the Fool. This relationship has strong, fast-moving energy here. Thoughts and emotions are intense. Communication is probably quite rapid or impulsive, and there's this kind of sense of kind of urgency or mental stimulation within it. And sometimes the communication can be quite abrupt and maybe not fully thought through because of the feel of the need to rush it, to maybe be able to feel heard or understood or whatever it might be. With the Fool, there's potential for a fresh start here, and for a new beginning. So the relationship really carries the energy of exploration and growth if it's approached with openness, which is the Fool. So the hidden dynamics and what you might not be seeing, Ace of Swords clarified by the Empress, there's going to be truth and insight emerging if it isn't already for you. There's going to be some clarity coming through, I believe, in this reading for you, and then in the physical form. And this is something that might be revealed about intentions, feelings, or communication style, especially with this here. With the Empress clarifying, this is really suggesting real emotional nurturing, abundance, and potential for growth here. I think there's kind of hidden opportunities for deepening care, stability, and or emotional fulfillment within this relationship. So it's there for the taking, but there's this vibe of like having to be really honest with yourself and with the other person, and being able to clearly communicate what's going on for you in a way that's new, in a way that's more conducive to what is going on now. So with the Four of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles, this is representing lessons or growth opportunities, right? So this relationship really, okay, let me just start from the beginning. So with the Four of Pentacles, this is really lessons around attachment, control, or holding on too tightly. Which is indicative of like fears of loss, okay, and having to feel like you need to overprotect yourself and your heart or the other person. The Three of Pentacles clarifying is really talking about that this growth is going to come through collaboration, learning from each other and co-creating solutions rather than just being two individuals in a relationship. So you've got to be able to relate to each other and want to be able to collaborate in order to make this work. So there's this real importance of teamwork, communication, and mutual effort in growth, not just one person doing the work, but both people doing the work here. So potential outcome, Three of Swords clarified by the Two of Pentacles. So there may be a bit of heartache, disappointment or conflict, and this kind of might represent temporary challenges or emotional lessons. And the Two of Pentacles is really suggesting that adaptability needs to be made here, and balancing priorities and managing change within the relationship. So there may be emotional challenges within this relationship, but they are manageable with balance and flexibility here. So the outcome is not fixed. It's really important to know that. It's about learning how to navigate the ups and downs together is what I'm getting here. If you're unable to do this, though, then it's obviously not going to be a great, healthy relationship. But there is the potential here. Okay, so I don't like to do readings where it's like, this is now the end of the relationship and it's going to be really bad and awful for you both. Because, as I said before, I'm a believer that tarot is not concrete, right? So now that you have a deeper insight into the relationship and what's going on and what's hidden, you can now decide what you want to do with this. And the biggest thing I'm getting here is teamwork and better communication, and not holding on too tightly to the past, and not, you need to collaborate in this work here. Now, your higher self advice is the Five of Pentacles. So this really represents hardship, one or both of you kind of feeling left out or temporary difficult, but it's also a reminder to seek support and maintain perspective is really important. So your higher self is encouraging you to surrender attachment to fear or scarcity or both, and to trust that you are supported, and to also see challenges as temporary lessons rather than permanent setbacks. So the main theme here is surrender, openness, and learning. The core energy, as I said before, is intense, fast-moving energy with potential for new beginnings. The hidden dynamics are clarity and emotional nurturing are available if you look carefully. The lessons are balanced between holding on and collaboration. With control versus trust. Sorry, I meant and control versus trust. So balance between holding on and collaboration, and control versus trust. Trust, surrender, and seek support. So this relationship, the overall message here before I read you the oracle card, is a mixture of learning and love. It carries strong growth lessons, and whether it's true love or just a lesson is going to depend on how much you can surrender control, communicate openly, and navigate challenges together. So let me read the meaning of this to you from the book. So it says, if you have pulled this card, then it is time to surrender to the flow of the river and trust that where the universe is trying to take you now will be for your highest good in the end. Trust that it will all be okay. You are not alone in this journey, as many have walked this path before you. Nice. So, Pile 1, I really hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope it's given you some insight and clarity around what's going on for you and your relationship and what it is that it needs to heal it and make it something that's actually love and not just a lesson. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed. If you do, please support me by liking the video, subscribing, and if you want a personal reading or to look at my social media platforms, you can find all the information in the description box below. Thank you so much, Pile 1. Bye. Hello, Pile 2, or for those of you who chose Delight, this is your reading. So I will read the interpretation of the card from the book at the end of this reading, but basically this is really talking about gratitude and there being the ability for a lot of growth through this relationship and through yourselves, through gratitude and staying positive and optimistic, whilst still being aware of changes that need to be made in order to keep this, you know, relationship delightful and enjoyable and healthy. Okay, so let's get into your reading. I will leave this here. So, okay. The energy surrounding or the energy shared in this relationship is one of kind of like defensiveness and kind of living in fear and being very trapped by your minds. So whether it's been in this relationship or relationships in the past or childhood trauma or whatever it is, there's this feeling of just, even though there are things where it feels like one or both of you need to be defensive or you want to defend the relationship, a lot of this comes from the fact that you're both stuck very much in your heads and it's hard for you to be able to come out of this. So you're blinded by what's really going on. So one or both of you could be defensive at times, but Nine of Wands to me is really saying that you're really defending this relationship. You know, it's something that you want, but you're unable to see clearly where it's going awry because of being too much in your heads and focusing and ruminating too much on maybe where it's gone wrong. And I'm also being a victim here as well. Being in this kind of victim mentality, because this person can move away from the swords. They're just choosing not to, right? So, yeah, it's very interesting, this energy. The relationship really has a foundation of caution and vigilance, and one or both of you is really holding back. But the energy is also about persistence, as I said before, continuing despite fears or challenges, but it's not making it healthy. Ten of Swords and Temperance. So this is hidden dynamics and potentially, bless me, potentially what you might not be seeing. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping into the desk, which makes me really kind of feel like sometimes it feels like it's the blind leading the blind in this relationship. And I say that with full love and respect, of course. So this is really, Ten of Swords is really about endings and hitting a low point or feeling really overwhelmed and really being at the end of your tether, mentally, emotionally, on all levels. But this is real, like, head energy, mind, like, so is the Eight of Swords. So it's kind of like the Nine of Swords is missing here. So there's a lot of there's just been a lot of mental energy that's not positive or constructive that has created a lot of tension and stress. But with Temperance here, this is really saying that healing, balance, and kind of integration in the relationship and within yourself is really possible. But there's Yeah, there's definitely hidden potential here to transform, the difficult experiences that you've already been through into wisdom and equilibrium or balance with temperance. And because temperance is a major arcana, this is a real lesson here as well around needing to find balance between head and heart and passion and emotions with temperance and with the Nine of Wands. So the relationship really has the capacity to bring integration if all these kind of challenges that you've been through are addressed consciously. This is lessons and growth opportunities. Six of Wands. So this is really about lessons around recognition. This is about validation, confidence, and also I'm getting learning how to celebrate yourself and each other, the wins in the relationship, the happy times, right? And the Nine of Cups is just really clarifying that emotional fulfillment and contentment are part of this growth. And it's part of any growth in any relationship, whether it's a relationship with yourself or with others, because it all bleeds into one. So if you're not able to recognize the wins within yourself and celebrate those, then you're going to find that hard to do in the relationship as well, especially if it's just one of you doing it. So this relationship is about learning appreciation, gratitude, and recognizing joy in both small and big ways. And that growth comes from celebrating successes and finding emotional satisfaction together. So these cards here are your potential outcome. So Seven of Swords clarified by the Four of Swords. This card really is kind of indicating caution around trust. So there might be trust issues here in this relationship. There might be a fear or there might actually be hidden motives, or one or both of you feeling like there needs to be strategy in this relationship rather than it coming from kind of heart-based, egoless space, right? So if you don't have trust in a relationship, you can't have a nice, healthy relationship, right? So there's this lesson in honesty or kind of careful navigation is what I'm getting here, in trust, communication, being open. The Four of Swords, as a clarifier, is really saying here that there's a need for rest, there's a need for reflection and mental kind of R&R, because you're not going to be able to see things clearly and come out of this more negative side of the Seven of Swords and energy if you're just always in your head. And if you always feel like you're wondering what the other person is doing, or whether you can trust them, or whether, playing mind games or having to strategize things to make things flow properly, that's not balance there. That's just kind of ego-based and fear-based stuff here. So the core energy is vigilance and cautiousness, but persistence. The hidden dynamics are past struggles or endings. Past endings or struggles offer, lessons in balance and integration. Lessons are celebrating success, making sure that you're grateful and practicing gratitude and finding emotional fulfillment within yourselves and the relationship. Is there emotional fulfillment there? The potential outcome, right? This is about trust and honesty at being key, as I said before. And part of this is reflection and patience being essential with this. Your word of advice from your higher self is about Eight of Pentacles. This is really about both of you needing to invest effort into this, practicing consistency and building the relationship intentionally. So if this is love that you want here, it's just taking on board all of these messages and knowing that this is going to be hard work. But if you truly love this person, and if it's something that you truly want, you both have to do this, because any relationship takes, work. I'm now going to read out this oracle card for you. I'm going to read out the meaning from the book for Delight. So it says, if you have pulled this card, now is the time to indulge in the pleasure of your body. You can select an activity you feel led to or participate in the ritual below. And the ritual below is kind of doing things like slow breathing exercises and just getting you really kind of present and moving more slowly and being more curious about what happens in your body when you start slowing down, okay? Because that will bring you more into your consciousness and into the now and be able to help you see things more clearly. So pile 2 or reading 2, I really hope this has brought you some clarity and or insight. And thank you so much for your ongoing love and support. And I'll see you at my next reading. Bye. All right, pile 3, last but very not least. Hello, beautiful souls. Let's get into this reading. This is one of my favorite decks of cards because it's all about Greek mythology. I love it. This is a really strong reading. There's a lot of major arcanas here, like a lot. Most of them are major arcanas. We have Strength, the Magician, the Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune, and Death, and the Tower. So you've only got 2 minor arcanas here. So there's lots of lessons here to be learnt, which means that this, that doesn't mean that it's just lessons. You can still have a loving, long-term, healthy relationship through learning lessons, because that's what relationships and being relational is about, right? So it's just whether we choose to do this. So I really feel like this has the potential for this relationship to be even stronger than what it already is, or to be really strong. It's just about learning a lot of really big karmic lessons here, okay? But let's get straight into it. So sorry, I got ahead of myself because I was excited. We have Compassion as your oracle card because this is the card that you picked. So I will read the meaning from the book at the end, but basically this is really setting a tone of empathy, understanding, and patience towards yourself and others is the biggest thing I'm getting here. So I feel like the overall theme here is learning to navigate challenges with kindness, acceptance, and emotional intelligence. Okay, but let's really get into the reading now. Big cards, Strength clarified by the Magician. This is the core energy or the foundation of the relationship thus far. So Strength is all about courage. It's all about patience. It's all about emotional resilience. So you might approach the relationship with gentleness and like kind of inner fortitude, I feel here, or that's what you're both wanting to do. And because, well, it's shared energy. So with the Magician, this really clarifies that there's also empowerment and potential to, actively shape things the way you want them to be in the relationship. So this relationship has the potential as well to, there's huge potential here in this relationship to manifest your biggest strengths in both of you. And strength is also about taming the ego and learning that strength comes from not from being aggressive, but from kind of being able to see things out of ego, being able to see things from heart space and in consciousness and self-awareness. But there's the huge capacity to do this in this relationship. There really is. And there's a lot of karmic lessons for both of you as individuals around this as well. The hidden dynamics of what you might not be seeing is we have the lovers clarified by the Wheel of Fortune. So what you might not be seeing is that this relationship really indicates deep connection, choices, and alignment of values here. And the Wheel of Fortune really clarifies that cycles, timing, and fate play a big role, okay? And that some things may feel totally out of your control in this relationship because it's a reality. But it's a big reality in this relationship. And I feel like for some of you, it makes you feel out of control, and then you can step into the more shadow side of ego, which then manifests things into not being wonderful, okay, and into tower moments and stuff. But we'll go more into that. Lessons and growth opportunities in this relationship lie in the Tower and the Three of Cups, which is huge because the Tower represents sudden revelations, shake-ups, or upheavals, okay, on an emotional level, because this particular tower is surrounded by water and surrounded by, this is really embarrassing, but I can't remember the name of this god. It will come to me when I stop thinking about it. But yeah, this is big upheavals in life that can come from your inner world, but also external things, as we said before here, which makes things seem out of control and which can also create these tower moments as well. With the Three of Cups clarifying, this is really saying that growth can come through making sure that you celebrate things, and that that you support each other in this relationship through finding joy even after there's been disruptions or arguments, right? Within reason, of course. I don't advocate for incredibly toxic relationships. But there's arguments in relationships, and there's moments where there's big upheavals in relationships. And because you have such major arcanas here about deep connections, values, morals, manifestation, learning how to face and control your ego, and these big outside things changing all the time, it's a recipe for there to be big moments of upheaval within this relationship and within your own worlds. Because there's a lot of positive and constructive karmic lessons here for you guys to learn as individuals and together in a relationship, which can make this a really beautiful relationship, I think, anyway. So, the relationship definitely challenges you with unexpected changes, but these are opportunities to grow, strengthen your resilience, and really cultivate joy and connection is what I'm getting here. Now, for your potential outcome, we have the Nine of Wands clarified by Death. Again, some really full-on intense cards, especially with Nine of Wands. I feel like that is almost more intense than Death in a way. So this is really talking about perseverance, learning from challenges, and protecting boundaries. So making sure there's healthy boundaries, because there's a difference between having a healthy boundary and just creating walls. With death, this is really clarifying transformation, endings, and renewal. So letting go of what no longer serves, to allow a new phase to emerge in this relationship. So the potential outcome really is transformation through perseverance here. Challenges are definitely going to arise, but they can lead to renewal and a stronger, more evolved connection if it's approached with resilience. Resilience is a big thing here. Learning to tame the ego, going more with the flow, celebrating the good times, not just focusing on these big upheavals and seeing them as the end of the world as well. Your advice from your higher self is the Chariot. So the Chariot's all about determination, control, and conscious direction. And I'm really being drawn to saying that, this is a very generalized thing I'm saying, but I'm being called to say this. This almost represents the light and the shadow aspects of self, right? Or it could be the other way around, it doesn't matter. But basically, it's being able to learn to control and navigate these as best as you possibly can. So, and this is also encouraging you to take deliberate action, because this person here has to really choose which way they're going to go. And they really need to stay focused on their values and to be able to steer the relationship with intention. Because if it's just steered by ego and fear and upheavals, then it's not going to be healthy or go anywhere. But if it's like any relationship, if it's steered with intention, compassion, and elements like that, then this is really powerful. But active choice and commitment are also required here. Now, I will read out the meaning of compassion to you from the book. So it says here, if you have pulled this card, then there may be feelings you have suppressed, parts of you that have bypassed, or places that you have ignored. Take time to listen to those places today, and to any feelings of tenderness, mercy, and empathy that you may have. Beautiful. So pile 3, I really hope that this reading has given you clarity and or kind of insight into what's going on for you in your relationship. So this relationship really is a combination of deep connection, growth, and really transformative lessons. And this is going to come through by balancing compassion with conscious action, because it really has the potential here to evolve into something really meaningful and fulfilling. Thank you so much for your ongoing love and support, pile 3. I will see you at my next reading. I'm sending you lots of love and light. Bye.